and it was basically like the guy who was taking the themes would be like, oh, just 1 second. The guy would go to all the other things and okay, just 1 second. The guy
So a little bit of cheating, but yeah. We don't talk about that. What was your strategy to develop the game?
I mean, the strategy was pretty much start, don't stop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was
Hi gamers and developers, and welcome to another GDT vlog. You might just have seen the vlog from Team 2, I hope. So you might know what's coming. This is Team 3. So you might have heard of Team 3 in the vlog before. So yeah, finally we get to talk about them. And if you haven't seen the other vlogs, I'm still gonna explain a little bit about what this gem was. So the name of this gem was Pact Game Jam, and this was a very special gem for us and Portugal in overall, because this gem happened here in Portugal, specifically in Alentejo, Évora, and this was an in-person gem, so very cool. And we're gonna talk about that today. So yeah, this gem in particular has a very out of ordinary gimmick, so you had to make a game in just 10 hours. So not a lot of time, and the teams had so many different experience. So yeah, we're gonna talk about this one in specific because I think you're gonna love this one. This game was a Voz do Povo, and you can find it on itch.io. And can you tell us about your game and your name and your roles?
So my name is Paul. I was responsible for the programming part.
Yeah, my name is Gonçalo. I was the artist. Talk a little bit about our game. So we called our game A Voz do Povo, and our game has like this little gimmick where you have this singer, where is basically you can control it to spin in a little circle, and he's gonna sing a note, and you have to catch that note. And basically after 3 hits, it spawns another singer, and if you hit him with that note, he joins your group. And the objective is to get a full circle, or even more circles if you have time. And that's basically the gimmick.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So, do you want to explain to our viewers back at home what is Cant Alentejo?
So Cant Alentejo is a typical way of singing from the region of Alentejo. It's sang as a group. We have female and male groups, and basically they talk a little bit about the life in Alentejo, which is basically around the work in the fields and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's a very traditional way of singing. It's kind of the second, if you guys have heard of Fado here in Portugal, Cant Alentejo is another way of singing, basically.
Yeah, and I think it was a very interesting theme, and I would like to ask you, how did you come up with this?
I mean, we were discussing a couple of different themes, because we had to find what represented Alentejo, right? And we were circling around a couple of ideas, some surrounding agriculture, for example, or the production, for example, olive oil. And then someone from the organization approached us and told us that we had to pick one, and we ended up going with that one, sort of a panic, because it was the one with the most ideas.
Yes.
So we picked it that way because, yeah, we had a lot of ideas that were around this concept of having a group that would grow bigger, and the bigger it is, the stronger it is, and it also ties a bit into why Cant Alentejo exists.
Yeah.
As like a way to insert some dynamics in the population and bring them together.
Yeah.
So yeah.
This jam was very stressful because it was only 10 hours. And so the theme choosing was also stressful, and you had only 10 minutes, right? Do you want to talk about that experience?
We had pretty much 10 minutes. I think we actually stretched it a bit. I think we picked out like 20 minutes, but still, it was too little.
Too little time, yeah. It was basically me and Paulo. We had like these sheets and pens, and we were just writing everything that came to mind. I was doodling stuff, and it was basically like the guy who was taking the things would be like, "Oh, just 1 second." The guy would go to all the other things. Okay, just 1 second. The guy would circle around, and then finally he had like to put us in place. And okay, we choose this one, and it was basically just because it was the one we had more ideas to choose from. So yeah.
So a little bit of cheating, but we don't talk about that. On to the 10 hours. What was your strategy to develop the game? Because it's so short amount of time, I can't even fathom how you would organize this.
I mean, the strategy was pretty much start, don't stop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a lot of like the only breaks we took was for lunch and bathroom breaks, and we were just working. But I think the biggest strategy was writing everything down. So we kind of made a list of everything we needed to do, and Paul started making the game without any sprites. So we wanted that to work even if I didn't finish the art. And I started making everything, and it basically is like you have a list and check stuff out, and pray it works.
No, it's very good. I think we also mentioned this strategy when on the Nordic Gem blog, because it's also the same people, but I think that's one thing that really is good, and I'm glad you mentioned it. If you're dealing with a short amount of time to make a game or anything overall, I think it really helps to make a list of all the things you want to do, what's more important, what's less important, extras that you can have, and this way it can be much more organized, and I think it worked for you guys. And especially, I think one thing we mention a lot, but we never talk about it too much, is the scope of the game.
We had a very short scope. That was actually something that we talked right at the beginning while we were trying to come up with an idea. We tried to think of base concepts and try to pick really just one mechanic. And bring that mechanic to the most polished state as possible. And that's what we did. That's what allowed us to have the base workings of the game at around like 3 or 4 hour mark. We had pretty much the whole game working, and after that was just adding the art and giving some polish, some effects, some
UI, which was something that we didn't thought we could make, but like our game as UI for a game in 10 hours, that's pretty great.
Exactly.
On to your experience. So like I mentioned, this jam was in person. How was it for you?
I think jams in person are always great. Not only because we get to have time together, we actually got to go the day prior to the actual jam, so we got to spend a lot of time together, and that's always great because it builds a lot of team building and just building of a group in general. That's pretty great. And then working in person is also a lot easier, especially when you have such short time, because we are like close together. We can see the progress. We have a little list that we can check. I can ask questions really. Paul is just right there, so I literally turn my computer to him and like, this works or not. It's much easier.
I agree with that, and I think because maybe we also benefited from only being 2 people. We were originally going to be three, but the third person was not able to go. So maybe just being 2 people, it was also a lot easier. Plus being in person to coordinate that, because it's like Gonçalo said, literally turning the computer around. Does this work? Does this not work? Do maybe a bit more of this, try this. That's a lot faster to iterate. And also in terms of programming at least, because for example the third person in our team was going to be a programmer, not having to coordinate some of the programming aspects may have also benefited. Arguably.
It saves a lot of merge conflicts.
Definitely.
I think the other thing about working in person is also that library mentality, because everyone around you is working. So you also want to work. So that's also great.
We talked a lot about this jam being 10 hours, but how do you feel about it being 10 hours? Was it a good experience for you? Was it a bad experience for you? Give me the ups and downs.
During the 10 hours, you kind of feel hyped and it's really great. But after the 10 hours, you start feeling that burnout. And I think that's the worst part about jams this short, is that I felt really tired after, because I didn't stop working for like 10 hours. And it's something that our bodies get like really hyped up and you're like working on euphoria basically. And when it stops, it's like everything comes crashing down. It's like not to sound depressing, but like you get burned out really hard. So I was really tired. Like the day after, I couldn't work on artistic stuff because I was like mentally tired. So I think that's the worst part about 10 hours. But the great part is actually seeing what you can do in such a short time. I'm really proud of our game, and I never imagined that we could make something like that in only 10 hours. So yeah, it also makes you feel really proud of achieving something.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think I'm also very proud of what we achieved, and I think it's really a testament to, and a test to see what we can do in 10 hours. But yeah, like at the end of the jam, like the last couple of hours, I was feeling pretty much burned out and powering through, because compared especially to other longer ones like 40 hours, or you can at least like walk away for a bit, take a breather, eat.
Yeah.
I mean, we had lunch here, but
we had lunch only. We didn't eat anything else throughout the day, but yeah.
So yeah, besides like just having the opportunity to run away, get away from it for a bit, take a breather, look outside. Here, if you stop, you lose a big portion of your time.
Yeah.
So it is very stressful, and it's a lot more pressure not to take those breaks. So it is a bit more stressful, but it's an interesting experience.
Okay. So now I'm gonna ask you about your moments during the jam. Did you have any worst moments?
I think the worst moments for me was more after the jam because of the burnout. But I think in actually the jam was not having the art process of deciding what our game is gonna look like. And I mean that more in research and exploring different ways that our game can look like, because that's one of my favorite parts. And what I ended up doing was staying in my comfort zone, because I knew I could do that in a short amount of time. So I was using the brushes that I always use in my personal time. So you kind of lose that artistic part that I always like of brainstorming and research and stuff. So yeah, that was kind of bad, just because that's one of my favorite parts.
For me, it was similar, because it was also related to that part where you're burning out. Because at the end, you're no longer working on mechanics. You're working on polished stuff, like for example, adding a couple sounds. We ended up adding some cute cutscene at the beginning. Stuff like that maybe not as enticing as programming gameplay. And since you're a bit burned out, it's a bit tougher to push through that. And that plus having to make those decisions that, okay, we don't have time, we need to do this instead of that, or you need to do this, we can't do that. A mix of all that. It's probably the worst moments, but overall I don't think the jam really had many bad
moments.
I think that's maybe also one of the down parts of having only 10 hours. So yeah. What about good moments? I'm betting you had lots of those.
Yeah, because it's still interesting to see how much we can do in that time. And although they made us rush a bit the part of brainstorming, I think it was fun, and we came up with some cool ideas. Even some that I don't know if we could make some of it eventually
in the future.
But overall the end result that we got, I'm pretty happy with.
Yeah, I think for me, best moments were more in the emotional part, just because I am from Alentejo. So it was kind of cool, like being there and working for Alentejo technically, because so only when I got to college I have the opportunity of like working in games. So seeing like that's something that's kind of coming up in Alentejo at school, to think of all the kids like me that want to work in that and that now have opportunities. So that emotional part was one of the best parts for me, that I was working something that it's like I'm at home. Yeah, that was great. And I think best moments is the part of seeing also what I can do in such a short amount of time. That's great.
About the jam, we already talked about this, but I think it's very important to have more jams here in Portugal, because we don't have lots of them. So what are your opinions in regards to that?
Oh, I definitely agree, because the game scene in Portugal is currently relatively small. And that, like Gonçalo said, to help, for example, younger people to know that there's that possibility and to learn how to do that earlier on, maybe get a passion for it. I think that would be great to make the industry grow a bit.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, we need to have more jams here in Portugal. I would think that maybe longer jams would be more nice for people who are starting out, because we had a lot of people there that it was their first time, and like 10 hours for your first time is kind of stressful. It's
very
stressful for us that are used to it. Imagine if it's your first time. But yeah, it's great to see places having gems. And not only having gems, but having gems in places where those opportunities usually don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for example, if you guys seen the vlog of Cape of Storms that was in Figueira da Foz, and now we have a gem in Alentejo, are places that are kind of, well, everything happens in Lisbon, so it's kind of cool to have places like that, well, having gems and having game development. Yeah.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I think more gems should exist, and I think you make a good point in regards to we are lucky because we have GDT, and so we can expand our knowledge with that. But not many people can actually do that, mainly across Portugal. So yeah, fully support continuing having gems here in Portugal, anywhere, really. Finally, I think it is time for us to reveal the position of this team. So like I mentioned in the vlog before, we had ranking in this game jam, and I'm gonna let them tell you what position they got, but first of all, please drum roll. And Team 3 got place.
First place.
Yay! Yes, very nice. So yeah, their game is very good. And yeah, you can check it out on our HIO. I always put the link in this video, so please check it in the description below, because it's very good, of course, because it won. So yeah, please check it out. And as always, thank you for coming. Thank you for presenting your game. And to you guys back at home, please, thank you for watching. Go check our other videos, our vlogs, our social media, keep updated. Check everything you can, because it's also very good content. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye everyone.